Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. So in this video, I'm going to talk about XRP, what I believe it's doing, and I'm going to present to you two different possibilities so you can be educated and informed of what potentially is coming down the pike. I'm also going to show you the XRP dominance chart, and that will also be a clue or a key in the bigger picture. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are zoomed out on the XRP chart. This is the big picture. This is the XRP macro structure. It's a repetitive structure. So this structure includes a bull run, a decline, and a sideways range-bound time. We see that take place, for instance, over here with a bull run, a decline, and a sideways range-bound time. This is part of another sideways range-bound time. Over here, we are currently working on the sideways range-bound time. So there was a bull run. Yes, this was a bull run, even though it's smaller than this one. That can happen. A decline. And by the way, these declines structurally are repetitive as well, even though they look different. And then there is the sideways range-bound time. Now, I take this sideways range-bound time and I divide it into three separate fractals. Fractal 1 has part A where price moves up and back down again, and then it goes flat. We see that take place over here once again. In fractal 1, part A, price moved up and down, and then part B went flat and sideways. Fractal 2 has three waves, wave A, wave B, and wave C. We see that over here, wave A, wave B, and wave C. For those of you who follow this channel, you are very aware of this macro structure. Fractal 3 is what we are currently working through, and it has, in this instance, there's different iterations that look different than this one. The fundamental characteristics of Fractal 3 is it moves up to a peak in part A, it drops or crashes in part B, and then it recovers, does a smaller correction here before going into the bull run. So over here, it is my belief that we have been following this iteration of Fractal 3 the closest. So this Fractal 3 includes this bounce right here, or this first wave, this second wave. So we have completed this first wave right here, this second wave right here, and this is the part right here where price aggressively moves up and then back down again that I am calling the great fake out. Now, not all fractal 3s look like this. So most fractal 3s, they just kind of work their way up to a peak in a unique fashion, and then they decline in a unique fashion, and then they recover in a unique fashion and do a correction right here, this smaller correction, all in a unique fashion before going into the bull run. The reason why I keep saying that is because whenever a fractal repeats, the timing, the height, and the depth, those parts are always going to be original. So that will lend to a unique appearance of the same basic idea. So the basic idea is it moves up to a peak. Now, how it moves up, how long that takes, all that is going to be original to every iteration of that fractal. So what I am going to do is I am going to throw out two different possibilities. One, where we are going into the great fake out, and two, where we do not have a great fake out. Instead, we are working on this part right here. So let's start with this part right here. We would be moving up potentially into this great fake out. Let's zoom in here so we can get a better look. Okay, so here we are zoomed in, and with the move up that recently just happened, this move up right here, it is my belief that it is very likely this right here. So let's copy and paste all of this onto today's chart. Okay, so here I am on a 30-minute candle. I'm zoomed in quite a bit. So this is the beginning of the move up into the great fake out. That would be this right here. Now, this has been adjusted for today's timing, height, and depth. Now, this happened on a smaller time frame than what it's playing out here. So in some areas, like right here and right here, I've had to stretch it quite a bit more. Other areas take place rather quick, like over here or over here. But for the most part, I would say it is continuing to follow this structure. Let's zoom in over here. So this is the run up to the great fake out. This is actually the peak of the great fake out. Now, do not try to match what I have drawn to the price over here. That would be a mistake. And the reason why is this is just me guessing. Any of these parts can play out much larger or smaller. As of now, this is still following this overall idea. Now, there is some differences here, mainly right here where this one dropped lower than what that showed in the fractal, and that is not necessarily a game changer. This is just the timing, height, and depth being expressed uniquely. So if this continues to follow, we would want to see something similar to this start playing out. What we do not want to see is price get stuck here and go sideways and drop down low. That would be a telltale sign that the great fake out is probably not going to take place. So here we are back at the great fake out. And the reason why I could say something like that is because this here is unique to this iteration of this fractal. So far, we have been following all of this quite closely. You can go back to my other videos and see how today's chart matches up with this. But it is theoretically possible that fractal 3 plays out without this part, and instead we just have this part right here. So this here on today's chart would be part A, this would be part B, and we would potentially be working out this part right here, this smaller correction. So what I'd like to do next is I'd like to copy this part of the structure and paste it onto today's chart. Okay, so this is where things get a little confusing. So this is the move up, that is this right here, and pasted onto today's chart. Now I'm on a 2-hour candle. There are some differences here and there, but as you can see, it does the basic idea. It kind of has these two bounces here. This one is more or less. It moves up, it winds its way down just like it should. And today's chart is a little different in some of the timing, height, and depth aspects of it. In the fractal, we have this massive spike. On today's chart, it was just real small. But it does what it should do. It even has the drop, this drop right here. And now we are potentially working on this part of the structure. So as you can see, it is following what it should be doing if this was that smaller correction, this right here. So what's the difference? So the great fake out moves up aggressively, whereas this one kind of gets caught up in all of this before moving up. Now, if this is playing out, it will go into the bull run and it will not have a great fake out. So for those of you who are rooting for this fractal, this from here, it goes straight into the bull run, whereas the great fake out comes back down, and then we have to repeat all of this. What I want to do next is I want to compare both these fractals. So here we are on a 15-minute candle. I'm zoomed in so I can show you the nuances of what you need to be aware of. So both fractals have what is currently taking place right now on today's chart. As you can see, the blue one, which is the great fake out, it has this consolidation here, or this pullback, as well as this one has it. So they both would move up, whereas the great fake out actually is, in a way, it's like just a very large version of something similar to this. So it moves way up, and it may take its time and come down eventually again, and then move back up again and do that smaller correction. So this one, so if we're doing the small correction before the bull run, expect some turbulence to play out, and it never really takes off into great fake out. Instead, it just fights its way through all of this and eventually moves up. Now, the timing, height, and depth of this part is me guessing. It could be playing out on a larger scale, some of this stuff, than what I have drawn here, or a smaller scale. We'll have to see as it develops. Now, there's one other chart, and that is the XRP dominance chart that I would like to show you so you can kind of get a better picture. So here is the XRP dominance chart. Now, I have done a video on this. You can watch it over here. But suffice it to say, this chart has a repetitive macro structure. So all of these parts right here, where the chart just kind of winds its way down to a point before exploding, well, that's what it has been doing over the years on this part of the chart right here. We have, it is my belief at least, now completed this entire structure, and we are at the cusp of this exploding. Once again, please do not try to align this with this. It will be a mistake if you do. Let's zoom in over here. So this move up right here is this move up that just took place on today's XRP chart. It is pulling back just like it should. Now it would potentially move up into the next wave and then come crashing back down. Of course, it may play out different than what this fractal is suggesting, in the same way that this is kind of going flat, where the fractal just moves straight up. So this, I believe, is a potential clue to whether or not a fakeout takes place. Notice how it shoots up high and then just comes crashing back down almost to the low over here. This may not be picking up any wicks that may have played out. And of course, the timing, height, and depth would be different this time around as well. So it, in theory, could go lower than what it shows here. So could this right here be an indication that this blue fractal, the great fakeout, is going to play out? That is some food for thought. I would love to hear your guys' input on this, whether or not you think we are headed into the great fakeout or headed straight into the bull run, and why you think that. So here's what to look out for. If you're rooting for the great fakeout, we want to see aggressive moves up. We do not want to get caught in this correction here. If we do start going sideways and in this chop, I would have to say that we are headed into the small correction here before the bull run. And the 2017 fractal that I showed you in the past, that's just another iteration of this, really. It's price moves up to a peak, part A, and then it crashes, part B, and then it has the small correction. Let's clean this chart up. So there you have it, folks. That's where we're at from a structural point of view. So if we go into the great fakeout, we still have some more trying times ahead of us with the crash back down, and then we have to work our way back up. If we're going into the bull run, it is some challenging times, boring times in the short term, but we go straight into the bull run. If you found this video helpful, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. If you enjoyed this type of technical analysis and you're not a subscriber yet, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'll continue to follow the XRP chart as it continues to develop. I believe with where we are at in the XRP chart and where we are at on the XRP dominance chart, this bull run has the potential to be a memorable one. If the XRP dominance explodes like it has in the past, which I believe it will, it has potential to be shock and awe. Of course, that's speculation. It hasn't happened yet, so all I can do is speculate. But so far, things are on track for something like that. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.